What's up, guys? Crypto Muser here with your daily news and analysis in the crypto markets. Now, I have to start out the video with this. Just all over Twitter, everything about Luna. I mean, you saw what happened with Luna and UST coin, right? Anybody who thought it was a good idea to invest in Luna 2.0 or Luna C, whatever the hell they want to call it, that's on you now, right? And look at this. Watcher Guru says just in Luna 2.0 was down 80% after launching hours ago. I mean, is anybody surprised by this? What's the saying that George Bush butchered a couple years back? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, or fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Right? I mean, you guys have no one else to blame but yourselves for getting involved in this obvious rug pull 2.0, right? And the fact that so many exchanges listed it, I mean, try to have some credibility. I think it's so funny. The guy that runs Binance, what's his name? I forget. I don't know. His name is escaping me at the moment. But he posted something that, Binance is all about credibility. Any exchange that listed Luna 2.0 over XRP of all things, right? We have XRP. Obviously, it's been around for 8+ years. Obviously, the SEC is going after them, but which one is worse? Delisting XRP or listing Luna 2.0? I mean, credibility. That's out the door when you try to list this obvious rug pull, scam, Ponzi scheme, Luna 2.0. I mean, it's like if Bernie Madoff came out, somehow got away with it and came out and asked for more money. And people are like, oh, yeah, sure. I'll give you money. What could go wrong? So I hate to start the video off with this, but, this is why this space is still so immature. Because investors, they want to get rich quick, right? That's why some people, or probably most people get in crypto, they think they can get rich quick. They think, oh, maybe Luna 2.0, maybe this will go up. Maybe I can 100x my money if I put all my money in Luna 2.0. It's just, the maturity has to come into this space, and that comes with regulation. The fact that the SEC goes after XRP and Ripple and goes after Library and EOS and Celsius and companies that actually are doing good things for investors, right? But then they let something like this go. Right? It makes no sense. It's the reason why we're so immature in this asset class. It's the reason why the SEC do not do their job. Real regulation needs to come in this space for real money to come in. Right? I think I saw a stat. It was 14% of Americans have invested in crypto in the last 2 years or so. Those numbers will go up for sure. Right? But the big money, right? The institutional money that has come slowly, but not really that much, but it will come when real regulation comes in, right? When their money, when they feel more secure about putting their money in something that won't get rugged or, be a scam or Ponzi scheme. I mean, that's why 99% of these cryptos will fail, will go to zero. So you better be ready for that, right? You better do your research, figure it out, right? Whenever I get into a coin, especially long term, I do hours of research, right? I want to make sure that this thing is going to be there in the future, right? I'm not going to put my hard-earned money on a whim, right? And the mess up thing is, if you just Googled UST coin and Luna and saw what they were doing, the risk was there. Anybody out there saying, oh my God, I thought it was safe. They all said it was safe. You obviously didn't do your research because, the risk was there. People said this was a time bomb waiting to happen. And guess what happened, right? This is why you have to do your research. You have to do your due diligence, spend hours, figuring out where you're going to put your hard-earned money, because this market can change lives, but it also can change lives in the bad, right? You can lose all your money in this market, but that's if you risk too much. You can't be throwing your whole life's worth into one coin and throwing all your eggs in one basket. That's just stupidity, and that's on you. I hate to say that, but that's harsh words, but it's on you. If you lose money in this market, it happens. I've lost money in this market. Everybody's lost money in this market, but if you throw all your money into one coin and you didn't do any research on it, that's on you. So had to just rant on that in the beginning of the video, but let's get into some real things. Before I do, if you guys could please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, it would be very much appreciated. But let's get right into it. So XRP, our beloved XRP. So Sentiment put out this chart, I believe it was yesterday, the day before, but I guess the whales are accumulating XRP. So XRP network whales holding between 1 million and 10 million XRP have collectively been accumulating and now hold their highest percentage of the asset supply in 2 months. This is the most active tier of non-exchange holders and currently hold 6.12% of all XRP. Now let's just zoom in on this graph just to give you an idea. So obviously, you know, we've kind of been ranging in this for the last, this is basically since February of this year. And then all of a sudden, you know, at this low right here in March, we're all of a sudden going way up, right? So the whales are accumulating. Is that surprise anybody? No, because when there's fear in the market, this is when the whales accumulate. This is when I'm accumulating, right? You got to buy up that fear. There's a reason why these long-term investors, pro investors or whale investors, what do you want to call them, they don't listen to the media like most retail investors do, right? You know, if you watch the media, they're all doom and gloom, we're going to zero, all crypto's dead. I mean, these are the same type of things you hear in every bear market, right? And usually this is a good sign of a bottom, right? When everybody's so bearish, everybody's screaming 10K Bitcoin, everybody's screaming, you know, everything's going to zero. I think in my last video, I talked about all the bear market articles we saw in the last couple weeks have gone through the roof, right? I mean, I'm not saying this is the bottom. I'm saying that we're pretty close to the bottom, I think, right? The signs are out there telling me, the sentiment on Twitter, these bear market articles, usually that comes out when there's a sign of a bottom, right? It could go down, you know, we could see another fall maybe for Bitcoin down to 25K at the lowest, I think. That's just me, that it's not financial advice, but, you know, I look at everything on a macro level, right? And I see all the sentiment out there, and usually it's just like back in November when everybody was screaming 100K Bitcoin, everybody, the only person that really said that we weren't going that high was Blockchain Backer. One out of like 100 influencers were saying we're going 100K, right? All the media outlets were saying we're going 100K. You know, obviously what happened, right? So when the sentiment is leaning to, like 99% of the sentiment is leaning one way, it usually goes the other way. And that's what history tells us. So do with that information what you must, but I mean, that's the way I look at it. So moving on. So the next thing here. So this video is pretty old, I think. This is from a couple years ago, I think. But listen to it. This is David Schwartz, by the way, the genius behind the XRP ledger. Him and Arthur Brito are basically the architects of the XRP ledger. If you don't know, I'm sure if you're an XRP, if you've done your research, which I hope you have, you know who this man is. But listen to what he says here, and this is like what, you know, this is what really breaks it down for you for, you know, Bitcoin maxis out there is trying to say that Bitcoin's the only thing out there, right? So XRP is the motherfucking outlaw Bitcoin fans, and not just because it's up against the mighty US SEC. So listen to this real quick.
Thinking was, first of all, even if you imagine this sort of Bitcoin maximalist world where Bitcoin takes over the world, you still have to get there, right? 99% of the world's value is in existing financial systems. And so you need to build bridges, even if you're a Bitcoin maximalist who think people are going to use Bitcoin for everything. Because if you're not, you obviously need bridges. Otherwise, what good is a new technology if it isn't connected to where the people are, where the money is, right? You know, you rob banks. It was a famous bank robber who asked why you rob banks, and that's where the money is, right? You got to go to where the money is. If you try to sit somewhere and wait for the money to come to you, that won't work. The thinking was, first of all, even if you imagine. So
the big thing here, what he's saying there is, you got to go where the money is, right? Most Bitcoin maxis just think, you know, obviously this is sound money. You know, this is the best thing ever in the world. Bitcoin is gonna cure everything. Everybody's going to come into, you know, all the money's going to come to Bitcoin, right? But that's just that's a dumb way of looking things, right? You have to go where the money is. That's why Ripple is such a smart company, because they're going where the money is. All the money is with the banks still, guys. I'm sorry to say, but that's just the hard facts here is, you know, 95% of the money, more than that probably, is in the hands of the elites, right? The big banks, the IMF, the central banks. You got to go where the money is if you want to get a piece of that. You can't just assume that all the money is just going to come into Bitcoin. Yes, slowly it will keep going up, but you have to put some work in. You got to, you can't just say, F the government and, the establishment can burn to the ground and Bitcoin will rise from the ashes. It's like, if you're going that way, maybe it will happen in the next 20, 25, 30 years. But for now, you're going to be sitting there with sitting on your hands, right? So you got to go where the money is. That's why Ripple was so smart. That's why I liked what Ripple was doing from the start. They were going inside the system, right? They were building inside the system, right? And trying to go to get some of that market from Swift and from the central banks, because CBDCs are happening, right? Hopefully, hopefully they're not going to be predatory like they probably will, but we're going to fight for permissionless CBDCs, but I'm sure they won't be, because that's what the banks do. But you have to work within the system, and Ripple will take that market cap, right? And it's all about making money, right? At the end of the day, it's about making money. Yeah, it's a movement. Bitcoin's a movement and blah, blah, blah. But if it does, it's not going to happen for the next 30 to 50 years or whatever. You have to, I got to feed my family, right? So I'm going to go where the money is. And that's where Ripple went. And that's where XRP is going to be, right? These ISO 222 coins, they're all for the messaging system, the payment messaging system. XRP, XLM, Algorand, IOTA, HBAR. Those are coins, crypto coins, or crypto platforms that are going where the money is, right? Payments, right? Moving value is one of the biggest things that crypto will change in our lives in the years to come. So that's where I put my money. That's where I put my money, right? It's all about utility for the long run, right? Right now, yes, all speculation, 100%. You saw the meme coin goes craze. That was all speculation. That was all gambling. As regulation comes in, and as we mature as an asset class, it's going to be all about utility. That's why they always say 99% of these coins, 19,000 coins, you can't, that's ridiculous. You're not going to have 19,000 coins in 5 years. 100% true. You have to have utility. You have to be solving real world problems to survive, right? Look at the .com boom in the early 2000s. Everybody just put a .com at the end of your company and the people invested. But what happened? Crash. It was a bubble. You can't just have a .com at the end of your company and expect to and basically solve no problem and expect to survive in the years to come. So yes, 99% of these companies or platforms will die off unless you actually are solving real world problems for people, right? For people around the world. Payments, NFTs are going to be here forever, right? In one way or form, right? It's not going to just be JPEGs. It's going to be, proof of ownership. That's what NFT is. So think of a real estate. Yes, artwork, anything really, right? I mean, they could tokenize. Think about the world of tokenization. You can tokenize real estate. You can tokenize anything. Think about it, right? Sports teams, literally anything with value you can tokenize. So that's the world we're going to be living in the next couple of years. Web 3.0 is going to be game changing, and just you got to think about that now, because you got to get into these projects before they blow up, right? When everybody's going to jump into them. Obviously, the FOMO is going to be crazy when they start going crazy, but it's all about long-term investments. You got to get in there before the masses get in there, right? So when things are looking pretty grim and boring in these bear markets, that's when you should be getting in, right? Don't wait for the FOMO to come in, because then you'll just be, chasing green candles, and that's how you get wrecked in this space, right? So moving on. So I saw this from Charles Hoskinson, who was the founder of ADA, also a co-founder of Ethereum. But I saw this from him, and this just, it grinds my gears, put it that way. So Digital Asset Investor had a comment on this. He said, "Hey, Perry and DC, Digital Chamber of Commerce, these are these so-called crypto advocacy groups, right? But they're basically Bitcoin and Ethereum advocacy groups. And, they're basically lobbying the government for regulation for crypto, but it's really they're lobbying governments for regulation for Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I guess listen to this what Charles Hoskinson says, because he's very much in the circles and the governments. He's been talking to congressmen and congresswomen and trying to get more education to governments around the world. And listen to what he says here about most Bitcoin maxis and Ethereum maxis trying to basically push forward regulation and saying that everything else besides Bitcoin and Ethereum are securities. But listen to what he says here.
I really do want to close with one final point. I did discover that certain members of the Bitcoin community are actively telling lawmakers to write into legislation that everything but Bitcoin is a security, to write into legislation every attempt possible to delegitimize or outright ban proof-of-stake cryptocurrencies. This was extremely disappointing and disheartening. I like to believe in the fact that maximalism has gotten to the point where dirty tricks are being played and people are trying to convince politicians now to encode maximalist principles into U.S. law is another example of just the fractious nature and the childish nature and the immature and irresponsible nature of some members of this industry. I really do want to close.
That's why you have to not trust anybody, right? I don't trust a goddamn person, right? I don't trust these congressmen, right? What's her name? Senator Loomis, Cynthia Loomis. I don't trust her because I've heard her talk about in speeches and interviews about Bitcoin's the only thing out there, right? Everything else is a security. So when she's trying to push forward legislation, I just don't trust her, right? Because there's these bad actors. Obviously, when there's money involved, there's going to be corruption, right? And you have obviously big money that have big bets on Bitcoin and Ethereum. And obviously, I'm going to put it out there, and a lot of people are not going to like this, but Bitcoin is old, it's clunky, it doesn't work for payments, it doesn't work for most things. It's a store of value. That's the whole thing Bitcoin maxis say. It's digital gold, store of value. And I own Bitcoin. I'm 100% in agreement that that's what it is. But when you try to say that everything else is a shitcoin, basically, and it should only be Bitcoin, that makes no sense, right? That's because they're saying that because they have all their money in Bitcoin and they only care about their investment. And that's where tribalism, right? That's where this Bitcoin maxi troll bullshit is, and I can't stand it, right? The hate that I see from Bitcoin maxi saying that every other coin besides Bitcoin is a shitcoin. That is the most idiotic statement I've ever heard in my life, right? Bitcoin, yes, take your store of value and your digital gold, 100%, Bitcoin would probably be $1 million at one point. But don't try to badmouth and push, legislation and push Congress people to try to outlaw or ban anything but Bitcoin. That's dirty. That's tribalism. That's exactly what's wrong with this space right now. That's why at the beginning of the video, the maturity needs to grow in the space, right? When you see dirty tricks like this, right, it just hurts to see it, right? Because we need to grow in the space, and the last thing we need is tribalism. This is the worst thing that I see, time and time again in the space, and it needs to end. And this is Plan B, who, is a big-time Bitcoin advocate here. But he put this out here, and it's exactly what is wrong with the Bitcoin maxi mentality that I see all over Twitter and social media. 99% of all coins will go to zero, but I am not a Bitcoin maxi. Over the next 10 to 15 years, we will see a handful of other crypto projects and companies transform different industries. It is in Bitcoin's best interest that it is not only the only winner, and it won't be tribalism equals weakness. And I couldn't agree more. The Bitcoin maxi mentality has to stop, right? Yes, Bitcoin will grow. It will be a store of value. It will, like I said, go to $1 million. But this whole mentality that everything else is a shitcoin and should be a security, it needs to stop, right? Dirty games need to stop. And I think that it's slowly turning that way, because I see people that have been maybe Bitcoin maxis in the past starting to see the light, if you will, that it's not only Bitcoin, right? And it's only going to be, like he says here, it's only going to be better for Bitcoin itself if there are other winners in the space, right? What's the saying? All boats rise with the tide. There will be many winners, right? Bitcoin will be one of them, but there will be hundreds of winners. I think that, at least 100, right? 19,000 at the moment, guys. Obviously, 19,000 cryptos are not going to survive. I give it at least 100, maybe a couple hundred at the most. So like I said in the beginning, do your research. Only invest in projects that you believe have a future, that are solving real problems. Bitcoin doesn't solve all the problems in the world. I'm sorry, Bitcoin maxis. So moving on. So the next thing here, if it loads, I saw this, and this was funny. So this was an interview that Thinking Crypto, Tony Edward at Thinking Crypto put out like about a month, maybe 2 months ago. But he had Joseph Hall, who was he used to work for the SEC back in the Trump administration when Jay Clayton was the head of the SEC. And it's funny, Tony Edward asks him about the ETHgate stuff, basically, and what he thought about Jay Clayton and Will Hinman. And, Will Hinman was getting paid $15 million while he was at the SEC. Do you think there was any conflicts there? And what he says here is basically that we're conspiracy theorists to even think that. It's pretty funny. And just listen to the whole thing here, and let's just talk about it after, because it's pretty funny.
Because there's a lot of video clips, a lot of connections, documents, and so forth. Why do you think Jay Clayton handled the lawsuit the way he did on his way out? And in addition to that, there's potential conflicts of interest with Jay Clayton and William Hinman with regards to the Ethereum not a security speech. What can you tell us about that from your perspective?
Obviously, I am aware of the allegations around that. I don't put a lot of stock in it, honestly. It's just not how the SEC operates. It's not how those two gentlemen in particular operate. I view those allegations as conspiracy theories.
Hold on a sec. That's not how the SEC operates? Really? I think most would disagree with you there, Joseph Hall. And the fact that he's kind of like laughing it off as conspiracy theories, that just shows you how arrogant these people are. Obviously that's how they operate. That's what how many stories, how many articles have been talked about this same way the SEC operates for years, right? I talked about in this video, on this channel, back in the early 90s, the early thousands, the SEC has always worked this way. They've always worked on behalf of the big banks. They've always been corrupt. The fact that no one ever does anything about it, that's what's laughable. For him to even say that, I couldn't believe that's just not how the SEC operates. Oh my God. He's a comedian, I guess. But let's finish up real quick.
It's the status of Ethereum as a security, like the status of Bitcoin as a security and any other sort of asset that STAT is looking at, is examined by a lot of different people at the SEC, and these decisions are made by a lot of different people at the SEC. And the idea that either Bill Hinman or Jay Clayton, had an undisclosed financial motivation for going in one direction or going in another direction, I just think that's unfounded speculation.
Unfounded speculation? No, it's not. He was getting paid $15 million by a law firm that was highly invested in Ethereum. That's not speculation. That's fact. How can this guy even say this, right? And the funny thing is, he knows better, right? If he doesn't, then he's just ignorant, and you obviously shouldn't be, then you have no credibility at all if you didn't even know that you're the commissioner, or not a commissioner, Bill Hinman. If you didn't know that he was actually getting paid while he was at the SEC, then you don't know the facts. And you can't say anything because you're obviously in the dark here.
By by people who don't really have a clear understanding of how the SEC operates, frankly. I could be proven completely wrong, obviously, and maybe we'll.
I could be. Why even say something then? I could be proven completely wrong. Really? Well, then obviously you didn't look into it, right? And obviously, I guess you don't care. Oh, so John Deaton put up a video on his Crypto Law Twitter page and website that I thought was very unbelievable. And I'm going to play it real quick because just a great way to put together all the conflicts of interest with the SEC. And I guess he sent this video to everybody, all the Congress people on the banking and financial oversight committees. So they will look at this and, hopefully they'll see that there were obviously conflicts of interest here, and hopefully we'll get an investigation. I really do think we'll get an investigation at the end of the year, if not early next year, because of the midterms, right? I think most people will agree that the Republicans are probably going to take over the House and the Senate, and if that happens, they're going to basically hold the fire to the SEC and Gary Gensler. So I'm obviously not 100% sure of what's going to happen in the midterms, but it looks like, I think most people can agree that it looks like the Republicans are going to take the House and Senate. So I'm looking forward to seeing Gary Gensler on the hot seat, right? I think John Deaton and a lot of other people have said that they think that Gary Gensler will actually resign when that happens, because it just was so much pressure on him and the SEC to, give us some information on what they've been doing, right? The fact that they've been going after using this regulation by enforcement and killing innovation in this country has been really detrimental to the U.S. investor and, the U.S.'s standing in this new technology of crypto. So I think most people can say that the SEC has been hurting the U.S., right? They've been hurting us as a power, but also hurting the U.S. investor they're supposedly they claim to protect. So hopefully, I don't get political on this channel, and I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I'm basically in the middle and hate both, hate all politicians. But it would be good to see the Republicans honestly win the House and Senate, just so they can go after the SEC, right? Because this Democrats sure aren't, right? Elizabeth Warren sure isn't, and the weakness of the Democratic Party is just being shown when they do nothing about the SEC, right? So I guess time will tell. These Republican senators are on Twitter a lot, saying, speaking this big game, saying they're going to come after the SEC, they're going to do this, do that, they're going to push these for this regulation and whatever. I don't put any stock in talk, right? When they talk this big game on Twitter, that's one thing. But real action, we'll see if they actually do something about it, right? But moving on. So the last thing I want to talk about on this channel is John Deaton. Oh, I didn't show the video, guys. Hold on. Let's watch the video.
In 2017, when William Hinman was named Director of Corporation Finance at the SEC, he fought behind the scenes while in office to keep getting millions of dollars in payments from his old law firm, Simpson Thacher. Hinman was warned repeatedly that this meant if he did anything as a public official that affected Simpson Thacher, he'd be breaking the law. Simpson Thacher joined the enterprise Ethereum Alliance, a group with the sole mission to promote Ethereum, while paying Hinman millions. In 2018, Hinman gave a high-profile speech declaring that Ethereum's digital token, Ether, is not a security.
We believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions.
The price of Ether immediately took off.
That was after the comments by the SEC. So, interesting market action there, right? Whoa.
Did William Hinman break the law? Federal rules say that even the appearance of a conflict is a serious violation by public officials. How did this happen? Why was Hinman allowed to promote Ether in a speech given his financial conflicts? And how did a speech involving so much of the SEC staff that was certain to move the crypto markets fail to be screened for conflicts that would have been found with a single Google search? The crypto markets are in turmoil, and investors don't feel protected. How can we have confidence in the SEC if conflicts of interest are left unchecked? It's time for an investigation. A watchdog organization, Empower Oversight, has sent a formal referral of evidence on Hinman to the SEC's Inspector General. Now they need to act. Only Congress has oversight on the SEC. Demand your lawmakers support an investigation. Connect to Congress today.
Boom.
In 20...
So I also implore you guys to, go to Connect to Congress on the Crypto Law website and keep writing your senators and representatives, because, I send one out every week, right? I put the pressure on. The only way we can, let our voices be heard is put the pressure on these representatives and senators, right? So go to cryptolaw.com and it's so easy. It takes 2 minutes. Connect to Congress. The letter's already there. You just put in your name, your address, your zip code, and it gets sent out via email. So guys, put the pressure on. They are hearing us. I think I think it's down here. I think 47,000. So 47,918 total messages have been sent to all senators and representatives through Connect to Congress. It's an election year, and we keep asking that they It's an election year. If we keep asking, they will be forced to ask. Think about it. Why wouldn't they ask for an investigation? There's no downside for asking for one. So, wow, 47,900, almost 48,000 guys. They're hearing us, right? 48,000 messages sent to every senator, right? Every senator has gotten a message. And like I said, I send one every week. If you're an XRP investor, you better be sending these messages, because this is, like I said, this is the only way, or at least one of the only ways, we can let our voices be heard. So I'll end the video with this. I just thought this was hilarious, because Vitalik Buterin was one of the first people I remember seeing on Twitter calling XRP a shitcoin when the lawsuit from the SEC came down on Ripple and XRP a year and a half ago. But a year before that, Vitalik Buterin was saying something else. So I'll just read the tweet here. John Deaton, 8 months after Ethereum was given a free pass by Hinman in the SEC, the co-founder and leader of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin, described XRP as sound money. And Vitalik tweeted out, this was erased obviously too, but this is February 23rd, 2019. I think you want to use XRP. The chart for XRP would look the same, so it's also sound money. But they have institutional adoption and partnerships, so they're better. I mean, what changed, right? What changed in a year? All of a sudden, the SEC comes down on XRP, and XRP is a shitcoin, right? And I saw the same type of thing from Anthony Pompliano, a known Bitcoin maxi, smart guy. I respect most what he says until he starts, saying Bitcoin is the one and only, right? But he also had something, I think it was back in 2017 or 18, where he, basically praised XRP for payments and what Ripple was doing. But it's so funny how they changed their tune really quickly all of a sudden, right? Because they feel threatened, right? That just gives me more, I just feel better about my investment when I see all this FUD and hate coming my way to XRP, because they just feel threatened. I mean, I have every faith in the world that Bitcoin and Ethereum will be around in the future, but obviously XRP will be too. And I actually have more faith that XRP will be there, because they are actually solving real problems, right? Remittances and payments are a real issue that everybody can relate to. Ethereum has a lot of competition, and the Ethereum gas fees in the rollout of Ethereum 2.0, that's still yet to be seen of what's going to happen with all that, right? I have faith in it, but I mean, it's still kind of up in the air. Yeah, XRP will survive, and Ripple will survive this lawsuit with the SEC, and they will be stronger because of it. Because I'm telling you guys right now, when this lawsuit is over, XRP will literally be, I mean, you could argue that Ethereum and Bitcoin have clarity, but not with Gary Gensler at the helm. But at the end of this lawsuit, XRP will literally be, and you could argue, like I said, Bitcoin and Ethereum will be the only ones with actual clarity in the US. And that's a game changer. That's when you see real adoption, real institutional adoption. And I'm telling you, they're just waiting to get involved. So, end the video there, guys. Just remember, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. But remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Please do not take anything I write or say as financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. And thanks, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.